welcome to another My NT Married video. There are some people on the spectrum who struggle to function. They find it hard to, work and shower and brush their teeth and get up and all sorts of things like that. I think that comes under the banner of executive function, but if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know. And then there are others that are absolute go-getters, like my husband, obsessed with work, really good at work, head down, bum up, just gets the job done. No if, buts, and otherwise. And my husband works away, so he's away most of the time. And I've never really been bothered by that. I'm very used to it. He's done shift work for as long as I've known him. And in some cases I think that his working away is the saviour to the marriage because we get that respite from each other. And in the case of somebody who isn't functioning well in society, it would be their partner's responsibility to do most of the stuff. Paying the bills, looking after the children, doing the shopping, everything, you name it, they're doing it while their partner is not functioning very well, not contributing and not helping very much in those circumstances. And then in my case, I have a husband who kind of sabotages my success in really strange and unusual ways. After our first son was born, I decided to do a course, become a nail technician, and then start doing nails. And hubby was all for that, no problem, go ahead. He's happy for me to have an income. In fact, he's one of those people that begrudges that I'm not working and therefore not contributing financially. And we did have that conversation a number of times with regards to your worth as a stay-at-home mum. If we were to pay somebody else to cook and clean and mind the children and do the funky and things like this, it'd cost a fortune. And so fundamentally I'm saving him money while also being far more valuable than he gave me credit for. But still, he always begrudged the fact that I became a stay-at-home mum. He wanted me to go out and get a proper job. So I become a nail tech with his permission. But then when I start having clients, he starts grumbling about everything, mostly the smells of the nail products and things, the polish and the remover and all of that. And so he's grumbling after they leave about everything. And before they get there, he's grumbling about them coming over. I should say at this point, to be a nail tech outside of the home, you have to hire the chair, the space that you use. And it was anywhere from $250 to $380, maybe even $450 a week, whether you have a client or not. So I decided to open a home salon because it was easier and I didn't have the same overheads. Because to go out and work, it would have cost me more than it would have if I'd been staying at home, not to mention the childcare fees and everything else involved. So it was far more financially viable for me to open a salon at home. And whilst he sort of didn't mind it on the one hand, he really begrudged it on the other. After some years, and in fact during one of the times that we split up, I decided to further my studies and become a beautician as well. Began doing facials and things. And again, he was all for that. Once he'd left, he was out of the house, he said to me, you should go and do this thing and, learn some more, better yourself so that you can have an income now that I've left you. Sure, no problem. So I do my beauty class. I'm really good at it. I really enjoy it. I love doing that kind of work. And after a while, we make up and he moves back in. Obviously more to the story than this brief description I just gave you, but he moves back in. And as soon as he moves back in, the home salon is an issue. He's begrudging the fact that clients are coming. He's begrudging the fact that they're in the house for so long and what am I going to do with myself and blah, blah, blah. And he gets stressed out about the house. Have you cleaned the toilet? Have you dusted the front door? Etc, etc. He just gets really, really high strung about it. To the point that when they get there, I'm high strung about it. And then after they leave, it's the same grumblings about the smells of products and them being in the home. And I mean, even having them come over is, who's this person going to be in our house and what are they doing? And 50 questions like he thinks they're going to burgle the joint. And you know, there's always risks, obviously, having strangers in your house, but the salon's off, you know, a little wing of its own. It's not the whole house or anything. But nonetheless, the point I'm getting at is he makes it really stressful, really stressful. And he says he's supportive, but at the same time he's kind of sabotaging. There was one time I was doing a nail client's nails, and hubby was in charge of minding the children while I worked when he was home. I used to try and schedule the clients to come when he was home so that he could mind the children, which also meant that I would have weeks at a time where I didn't have any customers because there was nobody to mind the children. So this one time I'm doing this client's nails. I was about to say nails, clients, anyway. And my little boy walks up to us and starts chatting away. And this customer, she hated it. I could tell by her face. She was not happy that this little tacker was standing there chatting. And I'm sending him on his merry way. You know, where's your dad? Go and find your dad, yada, yada, yada. Finally goes. And after it's all finished, I go up to my partner and I say, so, how did it go minding, you know, the little tacker while I worked? Oh, it's fine, he says. Really? Tell me more. And anyway, he says, yeah, no problem, this and that. I just watched him telly while he played, blah, blah, blah. And then I interrupted him and said, he was with me. And he goes, oh. Yeah, your child minding was out the window. He didn't mind. He got lost in whatever he was doing and forgot to mind the child. And this is, you know, the point is that it was small things like that that ended up sabotaging. That person did not come back, and it doesn't surprise me. It would have annoyed her. And so this is the thing. It's like, I want to be successful. I want to have a home salon. I want to have lots of clients. I'm good at what I do. And there's hubby in the background, this super successful man who everything he touches turns to gold, who just doesn't support me in the way that I need. The grumbling beforehand just wrecks your morale, you know. The grumbling after they're gone makes me feel like I'm invading his space and not good at what I'm doing and stuff like this. Him not minding the children, me not being able to work while he's at work. I can now that the children are older, thank God. But yeah, it's really tricky. And it's not that he's meaning to. I don't think that he wants me to fail. I mean, he says he wants me to have an income. And I get that he probably hates the fact that the salon is in the home, even though it's saving us huge amounts because we don't have the same overheads. So I'm not really sure the logic. And I've been doing this since our boy was a toddler, so many years now. And it's never sort of gone away. It's gotten less so. Like it used to be that every so many months he would tell me, when are you going to go out and get a real job? And you're like, whoa, ouch. What I'm doing is a real job, thank you. But what he means is, when are you going to get a proper income that is stock standard, you know, every week you're getting this amount of money, which is not how it works in the salon industry. Some weeks are better than others. So that's dropped down. He stopped saying that. Now he just says things like, you would probably be happier if you worked outside of the home, because he knows that I'm a little bit sort of depressed lately. But I don't think that working outside of the home would really be the answer to my depression like he thinks. Because I did work out of home before I met him and I wasn't happier working outside of home. It wasn't better working in an office. I didn't feel happier within the relationship because I worked outside of the house. And there are probably people out there who are really successful, married to somebody on the spectrum, who absolutely love going to work and find that that is their me time, you know. They get to hone their craft and absorb themselves in their work and forget about their relationships for a while. And that is true when I'm in the middle of doing some work with a customer. I do forget about things. But I think you'd also find that those people still feel a little bit empty and lonely within their marriages, even if they're really good at their work or they like their job. So my husband telling me that I should get a job outside of the house because it'll make me happier, it won't. What would make me happier, of course, is if I could have a client over without the grumbling beforehand and without the grumbling afterwards, without any grumbling whatsoever, and just be supportive. Just the other week, I told him that I had a customer coming, and he starts telling me how to prep. Oh. And I'm there, closing my eyes, count to 10, because I'm feeling agitated. And that's what I do. When he starts to bother me now with whatever conversation he happens, I just close my eyes and try to go in the Zen zone. Because I don't want to think about what he's telling me. It'd be like if he was a doctor and I said to him, remember to turn your office light on and your printer and get your prescription pad ready. I mean, he'd want to slap me in the face with said prescription pad, right? Because I know what I'm doing. And that's what I'm like. He starts telling me how to prep. Make sure you've got the scented candles going and you've cleaned the front door and the toilet's clean and blah, blah. I know, mate. I've been doing this for a long time. I know what I'm doing. So I don't know why he does that. I guess fear of some sort, or... I mean, I don't think, again, guessing, I don't think that it's him thinking that I'm not going to be good at what I do, or that he's doubtful that I know what I'm doing. Maybe he does. Maybe that's exactly what's going on. I really don't know. All I know is that he really has just a way too much input about my job. And it really frustrates me because I don't do this with him. Could you imagine? So yeah, that's my sort of work situation. Stay-at-home mum, work-from-home mum, with this partner who just subtly sabotages. Kind of has this little voice in my ear that makes me doubt my craft now and again, or makes me doubt my skill. I mean, even sometimes when he's home, a customer will say something and I'll say something back. And then when they're gone, he'll come up to me afterwards and go, why were you saying yada yada yada, and then nitpicking the conversation. And I've gone, no. You don't get to do that. You don't get to be home while I have a client and then give me a rundown of what I said and whether it was good enough. No. Shush. But yeah, just things like that. It's like, dude, please, I know what I'm doing. Anyway, are you a stay-at-home mum? Do you work from home? Or do you have an outside job? If you have an outside job, do you feel that that is your piece de resistance and makes your life so much better because your partner can't get in the way of your craft? Or do you feel just as sad and lonely and whatever because at the end of the day you still got a partner who's not meeting your needs? Comment below, love to hear from you, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really do appreciate it.